They always say, and dudes tell you this as soon as you come in, you know the ways of the system as soon as you come in. If it's a thick envelope, it usually means that you got denied because there are appeal papers in there. So it's a thick envelope. If you made it, it's usually just like a sheet. So it's like a thin paper. And it just tells you, like, congratulations. Nothing has ever superseded this moment for me. Am I going to get out? Am I going to get out? You can't not think about it. You get the envelope. And it's thick. It's thick. And you know that you're not going home.
My name is Karen Murtaugh. I'm the Executive Director of Prisoners Legal Services of New York. So when they're thrown into solitary and not given due process, when they're not given their mental health care, when they're held in jail and prison longer than they should be, all of those issues are issues that Prisoners Legal Services addresses. Parole has always been a difficult area in which to prevail. The way the regulations and the statute were drafted and still are drafted leave so much discretion up to the Board of Parole, the commissioners that make those decisions. And for the people that ultimately do get into court, the only thing a judge can do under the statute is to send it back for a new parole hearing. He or she cannot order the immediate release of a person from prison. So it all goes back to the discretion of the parole board.
If one is being fair to parole commissioners, and I want to think that the reason they rely so heavily on the nature of the crime is because there are so many areas in which there are gaps in our prison system. And I want to be fair to them and say that they're just not being punitive for the sake of being punitive, but perhaps we need to examine our prison system to see what opportunities to rehabilitate and transform exist there.
I think we need to look at our parole statute. We need to change the statute and the regulations to provide counsel at parole hearings, because people are not entitled to have lawyers at their parole hearings, which is a huge problem. We have a number of people that go to prison that are uneducated, can't read and write, speak Spanish as their dominant language or another language, so they're non-English speaking, suffer from mental illness or drug addiction. The fact that they do not have a legal representative there to hold their hand, to speak to the board about their accomplishments and why that person should be paroled is really a tragedy.
So there was nothing in place to help me make the best presentation possible. I mean, you have that in society now. People applying for jobs. You got job interview trainings and all other kind of trainings. So that way, leadership trainings and communication trainings. You had all these other things to help a person put themselves in the best position possible. And you're expecting someone who never even had that kind of background in their lives to do that at a critical moment.
The people who have the parole preparation project or people who have attorneys come with beautiful packets, and they're much more prepared for an interview. And my feeling is that we need to do a better job for everybody in preparing for a parole interview. Just like you maybe get prepared on how to do a job interview. If you have a technical skill, they tell you how to, I'm not sure what goes on in the institution.
Lawyers should be involved at the very beginning, explaining to people, this is how you will be paroled down the road. These are the things you need to do to ensure your parole release. When you go to prison and they suggest that you take a program, that's not a suggestion. You should take the program. You should get your education if you're able to. You should do everything you can to stay out of trouble, and if you get in trouble, you should contact Prisoners Legal Services so they can represent you on that issue to get it expunged off your record, because when you go before the parole board, they look at all of that to determine whether to parole you. We need to provide competent counsel at the parole hearings and on administrative appeal, to mandate timely preparation of the transcript so you have time to even challenge it, to take away the discretion of the board to consider the crime as a primary reason for not paroling you.
We have to follow the statutes, obviously, but we don't have to follow it in like color by number, right? Like, you know, instead of starting with the crime, how about tell me something you're proud of that you've accomplished? Our job really should be to put people at ease. It's an interview, it's not a hearing.
Clearly, we're starting to look at this a little differently. Over the past, I would say 10 years, we have seen a slow increase in the release rates. Every single year it's gone up, and every single year it's gone up a little more.
The work that the Correctional Association does is very personal to me because I was first introduced to the Correctional Association while serving a 25-year-to-life sentence in New York State prisons. I know what it's like to be in the system. I know what it's like to have the power of the state against you. And I have a profound desire to make people, every people, all people, feel as if they have equity in the communities in which they live. And making sure that our government never loses the fact that it gets its mandate from the people. That it does not operate in a vacuum, that it does not operate just for the privilege. It operates with the consent and the mandate of the people, all of its people.